Amazon's Hunger Games, symptom, not cause. The reviews of Amazon's headquarters to search are in, and they're scathing. As they should be. You probably know about the HQ2 operation, launched with great fanfare last year by the tech giant, leading hundreds of localities across the country on a wild goose chase, only to see New York City and a close-in suburb of Washington, D.C., emerge as the victors. In fact, when it turned out that Amazon had chosen two cities where CEO Jeff Bezos already owned ultra-ritzy homes, it was obvious that the whole search was fake news. And so the media backlash set in. Wired derided the spectacle as Amazon's Hunger Games. The New York Post's headline blared Amazon's HQ2 competition was a cruel bait and switch. And the Wall Street Journal headlined, How Amazon Picked HQ2 and Jilted 236 Cities. Or as Politico bannered, Amazon's enemies swarm as its DC clout swells. To be sure, Amazon's search had its journalistic champions. The Washington Post, to name one, cheerleadingly described Amazon as a winner. Of course, Bezos owns the Post, so it's no shock that his pet paper was on board with his program. More typical was the reaction of Bloomberg's Shira Ovide, Amazon may have outsmarted itself. She added, Amazon's municipal beauty pageant may have been wise a year ago, when there was a bit less skepticism about Amazon and rich tech companies in general. Yet now that we all realized that we've been Facebooked, as well as Googled, good and hard, well, the public mood is less forgiving toward corporate manipulations. Remarkably, just for this once, Fox News' Tucker Carlson found himself in the same camp as the larger journo herd when he ripped HQ2 as a showcasing of merciless corporate power. Indeed, the hits keep coming. Scott Galloway, New York University professor and best-selling tech author, called HQ2 a contest, adding, HQ2 was Amazon's term for bad faith. And journalist Michael Tracy tweeted, Amazon teased their second headquarters scheme in such a way as to elicit fealty from desperate localities all over the country and demonstrate corporate dominance, only to choose NYC and Northern Virginia, the centers of political and financial power. Incredibly sinister. Emphasis added. Indeed, HQ2 caused many reporters to reflect on Amazon's role in widening the gap between the haves and have-nots, that is, the increasing distance between tech and the rest. As Annie Lowrey wrote for The Atlantic, Amazon was never going to choose Detroit. She added, winners are taking all in this economy, with places like Washington and New York only becoming more important and more powerful. Or as the New York Times asked in its headline, the biggest, richest cities won Amazon, and everything else. What now for the rest? Reporter Neil Irwin explained, we're living in a world where a small number of superstar companies choose to locate in a handful of superstar cities where they have the best chance of recruiting superstar employees. Even the Bezos Post had to admit, Amazon's selection of the DC and New York regions is the latest example of prosperous, talent-rich, highly educated coastal cities winning corporate deals to the detriment of mid-tier and smaller cities. So as we look back at this sorry saga, about the best that can be said for Amazon is that it was merely surfing the trend, that is, it was doing what all the other tech and finance companies have been doing, namely, clustering in a few global-oriented urban nodes, all the while ignoring the rest of America. So perhaps it's also not a surprise that an increasing number of Democratic-leaning thought leaders are actively celebrating the twin trends of enrichment and embellishment. To name one such nest of thought leaders, the Brookings Institution has taken to cranking out studies asserting that Democratic areas are worth more, and thus are better, than Republican areas. Back on November 29, 2016, Brookings proclaimed, "Another Clinton-Trump divide, high output America vs low output America." The numbers might be accurate, but it's also accurate to say that Brookings was putting forth a weirdly monetized vision of civic worth and citizenship. We could go even further, thinking about the economic and political value of new drilling and new mining. And if need be, we could envision a plan for carbon capture, both to secure fossil fuels, as well as to create yet another whole industry in rural America. Why, if we wanted to, we could desalinate ocean water, so that the West could be as verdant and fruitful as the East. Yes, all that building and developing in underpopulated areas would add up to a pro-growth, pro-Republican vision of rural renaissance. Or Republicans could do nothing, and watch helplessly as the Democrats build their imperial cities, ever more imperial.